it again for a moment. I'm just setting up, okay? Bear with me, just making a quick astrodoodle here. Okay, I gotta keep going, folks. Let me finish the astrodoodle, okay? Do for now, I think. Let's have a look here. Is that going to be enough for us to work with? Let me think about this. Yeah, that should do. Hello. Good evening. It's a spontaneous live stream. Basically got to get some stuff out of my system as usual. Hello Esther. Hello Necessary Truth. Good evening. Hello all. It's Friday night. Yeah, hallelujah. Friday the 13th eclipse. Cocooning on that day. Yeah. Is that right? Oh, is it the eclipse is on the 13th? Is it? I'll double check for you, but for now I'll just take your word for it. I've got my eclipse charts on another computer, so it's very interesting. If you're saying the eclipse is on next Friday, right there it is. Right there. And then 2 weeks later is going to be another one over here, presumably. Right over there. We'll see anyway. So I'll start to add some color to the ephemeris for October. Sure, thank you very much. Hello, Starsy. Good evening, Esther. And, oh, is that indicating that you're holding your eyeballs open? Is it like very late at night? Yes, it would be. It would be 7, 8, 9. It's like 10 p.m. for you, isn't it? Gosh, yep, sorry about that. Oops. Anyway. I just felt I had to do something because this is looming over the whole world. Pluto is right here at the absolutely phenomenally important degree for the United States, which means effectively for the whole world. And Pluto has been retrograde for what, 5 or 6 months? And it is going direct here just around the time of the eclipse. Oh boy. So it's going to be the Aries eclipse Libra type. Let me just have a look here. So yeah, the moon would be in Libra. So the eclipse is coming along this axis here. Oh boy. Oh boy. Isn't that going to be fun? Relationships on the South Node, in other words, the redundancy and dysfunction of some relationships that need to be identified. You need to know what's not working with who and figure out, like, it's time for us to prioritize ourselves rather than outsourcing our lives to other people, other relationships, and assuming that they are trustworthy and assuming that they have our best interests. I'm sorry. A lot of people have been conditioned to believe that there are some very powerful, amazing, wonderful institutions, things like mainstream media, mainstream big tech, global politicians, the banks, the corporations. They all have your best interests at heart. But please understand, they are entities in their own right, same thing with the astrology, and they have their own best interests in mind, above your best interests. So where does that leave you? It leaves you vulnerable to unhealthy, redundant relationship dynamics. That applies for everybody on Earth. I'm not just talking about for Libras or people who are stuck with divorce or people who are separating or people who are dating or getting married, whatever it is. I'm talking about relationships in general for everybody. And what we're learning here is that a lot of us across the Earth have unwittingly or grudgingly had to outsource a lot of, let's say, conditions, situations, dynamics in our lives through the element of society in such a way that we are left in what becomes redundant, unhealthy, obsolete, and sometimes highly dangerous, highly toxic relationships. The obvious examples that I'm thinking of are maybe your bank, maybe your credit card, maybe your mortgage, maybe your car loan, maybe it could be Excuse me. Oh, God. I'm sorry about that. Oh, what a mess. Oh, God, my lungs, man. Excuse me. What a disgusting display. I'm sorry. Let me just check in here. Well, actually, let me just check in, then we'll go back to the Astrodoodle so I can at least say hi. Good evening. It's TarotLumination, Friday the 6th of October. And this is a spontaneous live video. Actually, the point of this video, I forgot. The point of this was an introduction and an invitation. I'm inviting you to go to a place called rumble.com. And it is a platform, sort of like what they do here on YouTube. And you can go to TarotLumination there and you can see my new content that I just put up. And the title of the video is Know Your Enemy. Now, on that video, I'm giving myself quite a lot of freedom and space to talk in ways that I really can't do here. Because I've learned that nobody is punishing me on RUMBLE. In fact, they like me. It's not very big or very successful in that terms of like having a huge audience or anything. I mean, if you think my channel is crushed from here to here on YouTube, just imagine starting like this on Rumble and actually having only this. Well, anyway, stop complaining. It's a much healthier platform for me personally. And some of the folks that I like, for example, Neil McCoy Ward and Economic Ninja and a few others. Russell Brand, he's over there. I'm not supposed to say that name, but anyway, he's over there too. Of course, he's got at least 1.5 million followers. I think I've got 70. There. Anyway, so the video is called Know Your Enemy. Why am I saying that? It's because it's a more, let's say, targeted description of the day-to-day process that we do here on TarotLumination, where it's all about you having to reveal it, to heal it, because most of the people who come to this channel are typically like compassion junkies. They're perhaps already in the healing arts, or indirectly, whether they know it or not. They might have compassion by nature, and like attracts like, so they end up here. They cruise their YouTube channels, they end up here. Okay, so we have our little community. It's like a little family. I'm very proud of it, and it's like a little love tribe. Love Triber christened it the TarotLumination Love Tribe, and we're still here. Can you imagine that? So anyway, we're still here, but as you know, I have a history of strikes, warnings, deletions, demonetizations, and it just goes on and on and on, and it's very exhausting, it's very draining, it's very depressing, but I'm still here, and but I want to feel like I can express myself more freely, so I'm doing that. And sometimes, I like to rant about mundane astrology, where we're talking about the world finance, world politics, the effects of Uranus and Jupiter on things like volcanoes, earthquakes, fires, tornadoes, hurricanes, flooding, drought, massive catastrophic wake-ups and shake-ups on planet Earth itself, the mind-boggling upheavals in the global financial system. I talk about that a lot on the astrology, but it's very, very easy for me to get into trouble when I go into the mundane astrology. Mundane, I don't get it, because mundane means kind of ordinary. Hello, Heather. Apparently it's called mundane astrology when you're talking about big stuff to do with global politics and things like that, but I just think of it as astrology, just astrology for the world. And it's kind of the theme that I'm really interested in. Of course, I do personal astrology. I've done I've done thousands of readings for people, and we can still do that. But you've probably noticed that I've been leaning more and more towards world astrology, because I feel very in tune with it. And if you knew my personal astrology, you would understand why. For example, right now I'm just completely bombarded, and I'm kind of in this like vice grip with the planets, and it's part of it is like it's putting incredible pressure on me personally, but it's also part of the evolutionary process. You know, we come into this lifetime with a certain astrological DNA or format, which is sort of like a blueprint to the soul, and then you live your life. You have a journey. You go through your first, I don't know, the half Saturn journey at 14 years old, and then you go your first Saturn return, maybe your second Saturn return, maybe even your third Saturn return, and so on. And by that time, you're looking at a wooden box underground. But anyway, it's a journey, and we talk about that when you do the North Node and things like that. And we've discussed all of that on this channel, and years ago, you would have found playlists every month, tons of videos like, love and relationships for Aries, love and relationships for Virgos, spiritual journey for Aries, Sagittarius or whatever. And I haven't been doing that because it kind of killed me, burned me out. And I got attacked so frequently, it was just like, I can't take this anymore. So now I'm just like scraping along, doing little bits here, little bits there. We do our live stream Sunday nights, and I love doing that. But back to the video that I posted on Rumble. What it is, the title, Know Your Enemy, and what I'm doing there is I'm pulling out all the main characters. There's about 10 characters that I pull out that pertain to the characters that I talk about on YouTube that get me into trouble, and some of the themes and the storylines attached to those characters that are considered like taboo subjects on the YT platform. And so I thought, you know what, I'm just going to go over to Rumble, stick it over there, and pre-record it. I still don't have enough nerve or courage or anything to do the live stream on Rumble. I'm still trying to get the technology sorted out so that we can do that. But yeah, with this video, Know Your Enemy, the idea is I kind of go through a short list of, I define everybody, I name each thing, I pull it all out, and the idea is to show you that I'm not a crackpot. I'm trying to like protect my integrity here. I want to show you that this is actually a real thing. This is a real thing. This is a real thing. This is a real thing. And when I say DYOR, do your own research, you can actually see, oh wow, there's a real link to that thing that TarotLumination's always ranting about. Wow. And then you can start to read through it and study and study and study, and you realize, oh no, he was right all along. Oh my God, what are we gonna do? Ah! So, I don't want to scare you, but that's basically what the video is about. And I'm trying to correlate it with what we do here. In other words, you know the little bumper sticker we have. You've got to reveal it to heal it. Think about it like in global politics, economics, and war. Know your enemy. In other words, you've got to reveal your enemy in order to heal yourself from the damage and danger of your enemy, which is basically what we do over here. You've got to reveal it to heal it. When you're diagnosing, and like we do on the Sunday nights, my little situational spreader, which is like a diagnostic, what we're doing is like we're removing the obscurity under which the nasty thing, whatever it is residing. And it's just, it could be just fog. It could be just misunderstanding, or how we tend to bury our fears, whatever it is. The whole idea with the diagnostics is that we gently reveal the situation in ways that we can't necessarily do through your psychotherapist, your mom, your dad, your kids, your dog, your cat, your rabbit, your chicken, and or talking to the sky, or your yoga teachers, or anything like that. And so people sort of end up at a channel like this, and then they kind of go, oh, now I see what they're talking about. Can I get a free mini reading, please? Yeah. And then they kind of go, oh, well, okay. How do you do that? Oh, that's weird, man. And then we talk about the astrology, of course, and I bring out my astrodoodles, and I point to this, and I point to that, and go, and I say, well, no wonder. Blame it on the planets. And that's what I always do. I always find the correlation between what's happening in the planets, in the sky, in our solar system, Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. And I find a correlation for you personally. And we can continue to do that here on YouTube. I love doing that stuff here. But my problem is that I very, very, very quickly, I just slip and slide straight into all the stuff that is taboo. And then I end up like, I am the author of my own demise. Over and over and over again. So, anyway, that's that. Let me go back to the stage over here a minute where we do the work. Oh, look, what's going on over there? Everyone's chatting about their personal astrology. Oh, I'm a late Leo. I'm almost a Virgo, so that makes me a fire sign. Yep, Hello, Maria. A rising Heather. What? And I'm okay. Air, Gemini. Master, my nana, mom, my son, my boss are all Virgos. Wow. They keep me in line. Okay, I'm just looking at the chat right now. Perfectionists keeping you in line. Yeah. Necessary truth. I'm a Gem rising too. And Sagittarius sun. Yeah, fun. Isn't it amazing? Like as you go through life, you start to recognize patterns. Like, why am I always hanging out with a Sagittarius? Or why is it I seem to keep attracting such and such a type of character? Or why is it that every time the moon goes into, I don't know, Aries, things get a little weird. You start to notice patterns, and then you think, wait a minute, I need to see an astrologer. But anyway, it's great to see you guys chatting amongst yourselves about that stuff, because it's very, very real. I notice patterns very closely in my life. I check this stuff every day. I look at this thing every day. I do this every day. Typically, first thing I check out is the moon. Interesting, when I woke up this morning, I kind of felt this like, I could do with like a year of sleep, but it's not going to happen right now. So let's just get on with life. And by the way, intuitively feels like moon is in 8 degrees Cancer. So I go and check, and lo and behold, there it is. So eventually you can really get, what I'm saying is all of you can get really tuned in. Now obviously a lot of people aren't, because a lot of us we're consumed with things like day jobs, chores, responsibilities, activities that have absolutely nothing to do with sitting around analyzing your personal astrology. But anyway, it's out there. Right now, the things that I would like to talk about are mostly taboo. So I'm probably not going to talk about them too much. I will hint at something here. With the eclipses coming, okay, here and here, we are going to have the nodal axis triggered very heavily, and about relationships, what relationships work, what relationships don't, how to identify what is inappropriate and redundant in relationships, and how to grow out of that, which in the classic understanding of the nodal axis is like we can never not have relationships. Everybody, even if you're like a prepper way up in Montana, you still have to go to Walmart or Costco every month or something, so you're going to run into a grocery store person, so that's a relationship. Or you might have to go to a bank or get more ammo or something. But most humans tend to be very sociable, and they cluster in things called cities. But there are typically, if you look around, you're probably aware that there are healthy relationships and unhealthy relationships. Esther's got a note there. All relationships that didn't work are gone, gone, gone. Excellent. Delete. 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 And then what's left? Oh, me. Like, who is that in the mirror? Oh, okay. So a lot of people live their lives where their whole sense of identity is contingent upon someone or something else that's not them. And they're totally dependent on the mirror, or let's say validation from someone else. Like social media relationships. Like, I don't know who I am. Like, unless I get 50 clicks today, I'm a loser. What happens if people don't like my haircut? Oh my God! What happens if everybody finds out that I'm a tranny, gender mixed up, half boy, half girl, and I'm not sure which one to be? Oh, am I going to be outed? Oh no, what if my mom finds out? What if my dad finds out? Oh. And then on the other hand, well, why don't you just be you? I had a... oh, God. My brother is a very successful, very practical, down-to-earth person. Heavy emphasis on, like, Capricorn and earth stuff, business. Really good characteristics. A good provider, very stable, very intelligent, very hardworking, never stops. And of course, there I was in Hollywood and LA, just working for 20 years in movies and TV, just kind of way in the background, doing stuff, crew, bits of acting and writing and all that kind of stuff. And every now and again, my brother would come and visit, and we would hang out, and I would say, "Oh, let me show you that movie where I was this guy and I did this or that or whatever." And he kind of went, I never really get it. Like, I just don't. He wasn't talking to me really, really directly, personally, but he was saying things like, we were just having a nice beer at a nice place on the beach, and he was like, "Why would you want to be an actor? Why? It doesn't make any sense. Why do you want to be someone that's not you? Why don't you just want to be you?" I never forgot that. But anyway, it's sort of like what we're talking about on the nodal axis, which is under a lot of stress, and it's going to be under a tremendous amount of stress for a few days before and after the eclipse. Remember, the eclipses have a long sort of lag time and duration, and then there's the second eclipse after. And of course, there's Pluto in extreme hard angles to the north node and the south node as well. So the whole theme and subject of relationships is under a lot of pressure right now. Healthy relationships, unhealthy relationships, viable, suitable, appropriate relationships, redundant, dead, obsolete, toxic, dangerous relationships. After a while, they get pretty easy to spot, and with the eclipses coming up, I think it's going to be very easy to spot. And the biggest, most shining example I can feel right now is there's this fellow, initials DJT. He's very famous for having this cult, MAGA, of a bunch of extremists. And some people love him, some people hate him. But anyway, he's in court right now in New York for no real reason that I can see in terms of legal stuff, because I'm following the story because I'm interested. And he's getting shredded. And it's a very, very, very toxic, unhealthy relationship dynamic between himself and all of his people and the other people. And that's a very redundant relationship that needs to die off. If it's not going to die off naturally, it needs to be, let's say, deleted, removed. And if it's very difficult to delete or remove or disentangle from that relationship, then more and more effort has to be placed. And that's what's happening right now. It's basically legal warfare going on with this famous fellow right now. He used to be the president of America. He might be the same guy doing it again. But anyway, it's tumultuous. It's absolutely tumultuous to see a really good example of everything and anything that does not work in relationships. And you're also seeing it in the relationships in the ruling administration of our country right now. I call him Grandpa Joe, but he has a whole family network, and he is basically operating off of puppet strings from a prior administration, from a fellow, what was his name, Obama. Susan Rice is like a script writer for all of this stuff, and so it's like all this stuff is going on in the background. And what's that? Psych. I see your notes there. I'll have to catch up with that in a minute. And it goes all the way from very, very big scale relationships. Like another favorite one of mine is the boss leader of that huge country, China. There is a very, very, very toxic relationship between that big country economy, China, and the other big country, America. And I've done the astrology on it. I've done composites. I've sort of alluded to it. I'll probably have to make a private video to show you what I'm talking about, but it gives you an idea of what a really toxic relationship looks like. And so that is playing out on the global stage right now. The way I look at it, it's just a TarotLumination perspective. It's like a very, very dirty, ugly, nasty marriage where there's one partner and another partner, and they both are heavily vested in maintaining their most glossy, awesome, most powerful, prestigious, acceptable image to the world and to society around them. Like in a marriage, for example, you'd have the beautiful wife, the beautiful trophy wife, and the very handsome, powerful husband. That's the most crude, simple example I can think of. But you can swap it around, China, USA, whichever. But they're heavily married to each other. And it has all the characteristics of very, very glossy on the front. And it's been going apparently well for several decades now, but it's all starting to fall apart when the truth and the reality of the marriage is being revealed. You've got to reveal it to heal it, and it is being revealed now on the world stage. And what people are realizing is that it's a very sick relationship. Both parties are heavily invested in each other. Okay, that's 8th house merger that happens through the marriage. They don't really have the 8th house complete merger of assets until you're actually, like, married. So there's the marriage of USA and China that happened with the NAFTA agreement with Bill Clinton in the 80s. That brought China and America together, like with Canada and Mexico. But the real big beneficiary was China. And so when China was brought into the World Trade Organization, that legitimized everything. And so trade started to occur. The interchange of energy between partner A and partner B, USA and China. And ultimately, it was a very abusive relationship because they're both heavily exploiting each other through their own systems, okay? Good question. Good question. It might have been a transgender marriage. Use your imagination. Swap genders. Maybe they were role players. Maybe they like to play dress up. One day I'm the girl, one day you're the girl. One day you're the guy, one day I'm the guy. Anyway, it's starting to come unraveled, just like when you have a very glossy relationship where both parties are basically trying, like in the very early days of a relationship, a marriage of this kind, both parties are utterly narcissistic, self-absorbed, seeking to exploit from the other whatever they can get. Oh, wow, you're really hot, handsome, and rich. Wow, I'm really hot, beautiful, and gorgeous, and I'm a great lay. Perfect marriage. So they bring it all together. They make it all happen. America taps into the Chinese slave camp. China taps into the United States debt farm. And they grow and grow and grow and grow. Americans and then the rest of the world eventually get to consume enormous amounts of relatively very cheap and affordable products from China. China in return receives astronomical amounts of cash. Okay, and so they grew exponentially in wealth in terms of cash internally, which allowed them to build enormous cities, 25 million at a pop. They've got at least 10 cities of 25 million people, and there's a lot more. And skyscrapers everywhere, which are all starting to fall apart because they grew very, very fast through crime, corruption, betrayal, and deception in the world of China. And a different phenomenon happened over here where things became very, very corrupt. Lies, betrayal, deception, and everything with the corporate side of things. Either way, both sides of the relationship, both parts of the marriage, reached their level of incompetence where they really couldn't go any further without starting to attack each other because things are starting to go wrong. What happens is that China feels like it's outgrowing its spouse, the United States. China wants to be free. It wants to take everything from here in a massive, what amounts to a divorce. I want it all. I'm going to take everything. I'm going to take you down. And so what happens is they keep the smiley facade that everything's great up until the last minute when it isn't. And then everything is revealed, and it's what people around the world are starting to understand is that it was a very brutal, vicious exploitation between one partner and the other. Chinese slave camps married to Western debt farms. They both feed off of each other, and they gorged to the maximum where they can't take it any further. And because the global financial system is the way it is, it can only go so far. So China right now, for example, is literally like, I don't know, this is going to sound offensive, but it's like a very I'm going to get in trouble if I keep talking about this. You know how when you have a very, okay, let's talk about like a showbiz celebrity marriage, and it turns really, really ugly when both parties realize, like, oh God, you're not who I thought you were. You're actually a real person, and as a real person, I don't like you at all. And the other person is like, oh, I thought you were so-and-so. You're rich and famous and handsome and popular. And I thought you were blah, blah, blah. And now I'm discovering you're actually sicko, psycho, pervert, maniac, abuser. Ooh. I'm going to divorce you. I'm going to take millions. And so it gets, you know, and it's all over the tabloids. Beautiful husband, handsome wife. Or maybe they're gay, or maybe they're lesbians. Anyway, it turns into a major divorce, and they shred each other to pieces, and the lawyers get all the money. Anyway, that's kind of what's happening right now. And it's very, very big, very painful, very, very ugly. And it is the implosion of the relationship on the world stage. I would put it to you that we can observe in real time that a classic example of the nodal axis, Libra South Node, Aries North Node, is coming into play, where both parties are realizing, like, actually, I just want to be me in my full integrity. Screw you. And that's hard to do when you're so deeply embedded in toxic, unhealthy, redundant relationship dynamics. So this story doesn't apply to everybody, because there are lots of people on Earth who actually do have healthy, loving relationships. So this kind of doesn't apply. But if you ever had a personal reading with me years ago, to have an effective, healthy, loving relationship, you, the individual, have to be that way already on the inside. Be loving, be loved. Then let the laws of attraction work. See what I mean? Be loving, be loved. Well, that sounds too easy, TL. Well, love is as love does. So love is measured by actions, okay, not by words. In other words, if I say, darling, I love you. You're mine. I am yours. Our hearts are melded together. Boink, 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 all of that stuff. And then it turns ugly, because one party discovers that the other is a complete slut, liar, whore, gold digger, whatever. Or gigolo, gold digger, or whatever. So that's not loving action. So love is as love does. In a loving relationship, people respect each other. They give each other time. They give each other a lot of room, a lot of space. And when they have to figure things out for themselves in the relationship, they do it through the relationship, on the understanding that, like in a healthy relationship, you have to be as fully in possession of your sovereign self as it's possible to be. A lot of people don't ever make it. But people who do make it, again, the laws of attraction and action, they can recognize that in others. So healthy relationships, very healthy relationships, are usually comprised of people who've done a lot of work on themselves to be their most ultimate, awesome, sovereign self. And they won't accept anything less in a partner. And so guess what? Other people who are doing the same work on themselves and have reached that level of sovereignty can recognize that in another person through their actions, through their deeds, through their behavior, their nature. And then you can have a healthy relationship, and that's fine. And then both parties enhance each other. When I do some of my tarot and relationship spreads, I work on the belief that there is the one party over here, the other party over here, and the third party, which is the relationship itself, which has its own astrological identity. Who knew? Well, anyway, it does, whether you like it or know it or not. So, what I like to do with relationship dynamics, we'll take this person, we'll create a composite and work through there and have a look what's really going on in the relationship as opposed to what you think is going on or what you think is going on. You see what I'm getting at here? Anyway, I just thought I'd mention that. Well, I just saw that on the screen there. What was that? Oh, Fluffles is here. Good evening, yes. Necessary. You met several Libras the past few days, and they're going through it. Well, yeah, let's pray for the Libras. I mean, there's, let's go over here for a moment. Hold on. Thank you for that one, Necessary. Well, right now, we've got Mercury, Sun, and Mars in Libra. So that's a lot of energy, and we got the South Node in Libra right now. So this area of global astrology, mundane astrology, is very, very, very active right now. Mars does not really like it. Mars in Libra, it's sort of like conflict in relationships. Think of it that way. Hostility, violence, let's say too much sex or passion and not enough compassion, you know, and hostilities, you know, like what's happening with DJT up in Washington, in New York right now. But all the Libras are dealing with this right now. All Libras, okay? Yeah. Calm down, Fluffles. Don't say that. You're going to get my channel flagged. Ah. That's why I'm trying to speak in code language. DJT. Okay? Grandpa Joe. The current administration in Washington. Things like that. Anyway, I just had my rant about the nodal axis. It's under tremendous pressure right now. Pluto in Capricorn, by the way. You see that little circle there? 27.5 degrees Capricorn. Stationary direct. This is a point of history. We're going to see it in Washington. More than anywhere else, we're going to see it in Washington, D.C. and a few of the other capitals around the world, like, let's have a think, like Moscow, Beijing, the capitals of other countries. But especially in the United States, in Washington, D.C., we're going to see tremendous convulsions, evolutionary shifts and convulsions that cannot be stopped or reversed. The most obvious example, because you always see this just before the planet goes direct. Everything, there's a pressure and a build-up, and then it's like a crest, and then pop, Pluto goes direct. So the most, to me, it's hilarious. It's absolutely hilarious. Grandpa Joe is choking on his policies, absolutely choking on his policies, because he's realized he's had to make a strategic, well, actually more like a tactical decision to build a structure between the United States and the country south of the United States. It has a wiggly line. And I'm sort of not allowed to talk about that stuff, but he's realizing he has to put up, like, what do they call it? A fence. A fence in order to deal with the problems that are happening all over the country right now that are the result of his policies that were enacted about 1.5, 2 years ago. Okay? Thank you very much. So, I was absolutely stunned when I saw that, because that's going to happen more and more and more in Washington, because everything that's very, very toxic in Washington is starting to be revealed for the healing. We've had 6 months of it now with all these massive walls of retrogrades. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong. And the further out in the solar system that you go with the retrogrades, the bigger and deeper and more challenging the problems that are revealed. So when you go all the way out, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, I talked about the Neptune stuff a lot. Fraud, deception, lies, betrayal, bribery, blackmail, abuse, theft, crime, imprisonment, a lot of other much more horrible things that I can't talk about. It's all being revealed for the healing. We had the very powerful axis going on recently with the Pisces Virgo polarities. That's starting to fade because so much unhealthy stuff has been revealed. And the sickest of sickest stuff in the world is what we're seeing in the capital of America and all the elites that participate in that crowd. And that's what my other video is about on RUMBLE. Dang. Talking in code language here. Anyway, so all I can say is that you got to reveal it to heal it, but now a lot has been revealed, and a lot more is going to be revealed as the other major planets farther out, the planets that are farther out start to go direct again. But first, Pluto. So you're going to see that at the very, very top of society with the corporations, the mainstream media, the politicians, the technocrats, the oligarchs, the plutocrats, the tyrants, the dictators, the treason, all the crime, all the horrific lies that were done to benefit the people who own the world. Hideous, disgusting crimes that they committed. Again, I can't talk about these particular crimes. One of them involves 2 very tall buildings about 21 years ago in New York. And the other one involves a very nasty bug that started around January 2020. So on and so on. Basically, you drop a bomb on your own world, on your own people, and then you come in and say, oh, vote for me and I will save you. So long as nobody can figure out the nature of the bomb and the meaning and the purpose of the bomb, which was ultimately treachery, treason, treachery on your own people. So the masses, we the people, en masse, are starting to realize the depth of betrayal from the people who are supposed to be saving us. Vote for me and I will save you. But remember, at this point we've got to it's very, very obvious that the arsonist is the fireman. Which means that the fireman is the arsonist. Typically, the firemen presents themselves very well. It's like, don't worry, everything's going to be fine. We're going to save everything. And then they go, start the fire over here. Oh my God! Mainstream media reports there's a horrific thing happening all across the world right now. We need a savior. And then the fireman comes like, we're going to do this. Vote for me. I'm going to take care of everything. Everything's going to be fine. And it's all a process of extraction. Ultimately, it's about disempowering you, extracting your wealth, and putting it in their pockets. It's a controlled demolition. That's what's happening across the world right now. In very, very simple terms, it is a controlled demolition, orchestrated, designed, perpetrated by the people at the very, 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 very top. All right. Yeah, it's all coming out. The people like RFK have decided, what have I got to lose by telling my truth? So more and more whistleblowers are coming out saying their truth, their truth, their truth. And their truth isn't just wackadoodle stuff anymore. Their truth is being validated and verified by other so-called whistleblowers. And it's making the firemen look bad. People around the world are starting to realize, my God, the freaking fireman is actually the arsonist. That's the ultimate betrayal, which it is. It's despicable. And that's, if you want to take it to the very, very top of evil, the people who are supposed to protect and educate and defend and nurture our children end up being the sickest and most dirty, nasty evil. Abusers of our children. Everything I just spoke now is borderline problem for my channel. But I feel I was communicating in a way that's honest, open, true, not too biased. You know my leanings, I lean a certain way. But I wasn't like behaving like I was some kind of, I can't even use the words, racist or a bigot or a, I don't know, a horrible person. God. Oh man. Anyway, it's very frightening. I don't want to take up any more of your evening, folks. We all got stuff to do. I've got a ton of stuff to do. I really should just get on with it. It's Friday night. There's a lot that's going to be happening in Washington, D.C. over the next few months. It's going to be evolutionary changes that are going to blow people's minds. The other perspective is that, oh, it's just another day in Washington. But when you look at mundane astrology the way that I do, and you look at the charts the way that I do, you would see that Pluto going direct is a timestamp for evolutionary leaps and changes going forward, now that we've revealed things to heal things at the very, very deepest depths of the soul. Okay. So it's like being a doctor or a surgeon where you figured out, oh, you got this kind of cancer. Wait a minute, we better look deeper. So they dig a little, oh, wait a minute, it's not, is that really cancer? No, what is that? Oh, that's systemic candidiasis triggering, what the hell is this? We need to dig deeper and deeper and deeper. And then they discover despicable things that they'd never even known before, but they had suspected. That's what's happening right now, okay? It's the only way I can do it a reasonable analogy, okay? Pluto stations direct in just a couple of days. Let me go, Kaylee, let me go over here and show you. Of course, we're feeling it right now. Okay, today is the 6th of October, and Pluto's going direct on the 11th or whatever, but we're effectively at that point right now. Remember, Pluto moves incredibly slowly. So, for example, I'm talking about this thing here. This represents the depths of the soul for humanity, for each individual. Wherever Pluto lies in your chart, whatever sign, whatever degree, that represents the deepest part of your soul. Some people are born with very heavily conflicts to their Pluto. Some people are born with very strong, supportive, harmonious aspects. Everybody's different. But in this particular case, this particular degree, let's do it. Retrograde, 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 retrograde. Mercury's already direct, so it doesn't matter anymore. Look at that. Look at that. Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto all retrograde. And as they unravel and start to go direct again, we're going to have more revealing for the healing, especially when Neptune comes around. Oh my God. But right now, Pluto is in Capricorn at 27.5 degrees, which is pretty much the birth degree of the United States, okay? Right here. It's happening right in here, okay? So, astrologically, the United States is at the epicenter of the global drama, because what's happening in Washington right now affects every other country, population in the world. Okay? Whether you like it or know it or not. That's how it works. If you want to know more about that stuff, you're going to have to do a lot of your own research, but I would highly recommend maybe a way to dip your toes in the water for that stuff is to go to my channel, TarotLumination, over there on RUMBLE. I'm not allowed to post that link in my videos anymore. That's why they demonetized another one and deleted it, blocked it out, and gave me a strike. It's because I used that word and mentioned that platform, okay? Kaylee, yes, exactly. Kaylee, you've said it in very simple terms. Kaylee, you have a very Plutonian chart. Wow, okay. So, Kaylee, basically, this is very slow moving, as you know. This is at the point of critical mass for the United States. We've done a tremendous amount of revealing for the healing, and everybody in the world is realizing how absolutely corrupt and completely broken our leaders and our administration and our institutions are, and our corporations, the mainstream media, the corporation, all of that are utterly corrupt at the depths of the soul. And so what happens now? How are we going to heal that? It's very difficult to healing because the corruption is extremely deep and decades in the making. So starting in 2024, now remember, this is on the cusp here. It moves very, very slowly. So over the next, 6 months or so, or whenever it is, we're going to get Pluto in Aquarius at the 0 degree mark, and it's never going back. Okay, the next time Pluto goes in Aquarius, retrograde will be over here. But it's going to be another 250 years before we come to this point again. So who knows? Maybe we'll all meet each other again in 250 years. But anyway, yeah, Kaylee, this is insanity. But no, it's not insanity. This is real astrology. This is the exact point of critical mass for the United States. Okay? So when Pluto goes in Aquarius, if you look back 250 years, it's 20 years of chaos, revolution, okay, inside the United States. And we're doing a repeat, okay? The United States just had its first Pluto return. You've heard of a Saturn return. That's about 30 years. You've heard of a Jupiter return. That's about 12 years. And so on. Anyway, the Pluto return is 250. So we've come over here. And I've done videos about all this before, but what's happening is the complete implosion of the United States and our Constitution in order that it can be reborn. It has to die so that it can be reborn. And it is literally dying and imploding at the moment. And there are people who are trying to keep it alive according to their will for their purposes. And those people are not nice. Okay? Watch my other video. And there are people like myself who want a world where we can have freedom of speech. We can be our own sovereign selves. We can protect and defend ourselves. Good fences make good neighbors, and so on and so on. Where we can deal with things honestly and legitimately, rather than through bribery, corruption, betrayal, theft, blackmail, murder, and abuse and exploitation. Okay? It is possible. It is possible. But you have to choose it. It has to be deliberate. It doesn't come free. If you want that free, if you want what I want, it's probably going to involve a lot of sacrifice. Okay? Yeah. Well, excellent work there, Kaylee. Yep. Hello, Love Triber. Hey. All right, so thank you everybody for hanging out with me for so long tonight. Sorry to keep you up so late. Let's wrap it up. And oh God, I gotta get out of this stream. Sorry. Okay, I'm gonna say good night now. And I'm going to play my little acoustic song. It's my 2A. Okay, I'm going to show you my hat. Stay there. I wrote a song. I don't know if it'll show up because of the lighting. You see that? I wrote a little song to celebrate that. So I'm going to play that song, and then I have to watch the visuals on the different monitors to know when I can actually close out the video without you losing the last 5 minutes. Okay, so that's my problem. So I'm going to help in any way I can. So what I'm actually going to do, and you'll see it on the screen, I'm going to play my new song, and I'm going to switch out visually at the same time. Okay, I hope you don't mind, but I've got to do this in such a way that I don't lose the last few minutes, because to me the last few minutes sometimes are very important. Okay, so here's the song. It sounds like this. Okay, I'm calling this my 2A song. It's from TarotLumination. It's pretty rough, but I hope you get something out of it. So I'm going to put this on now, then I'm going to switch, say bye-bye. When will I stop being censored? All I'm doing is speaking the truth. Instead I am labeled as a domestic terrorist extremist with a short fuse. The fake news just lies and suppresses. The Marxists are writing the scripts. The unaware masses get led to their slaughter while patriots try to resist. Oh, you can't take me down and you can't shut me up. I got the First Amendment by right. And if the first one is threatened, I've still got the second. I won't go down without a fight. Yes, we still have our sweet Constitution, but it's severely being abused. Our only solution is a new revolution to take back what belongs to you
and me. I'm sick of the perverts and pedos trying to normalize child sacrifice. They revel in evil and their satanic rituals packaged in their delicious lies. No, you can't take me down and you can't shut me up. I got the First Amendment by right. And if the first one is threatened, I've still got the second. I won't go down without a fight. It all began way back on 4th of July in 1776. The founders and fighters gave their lives for our freedom. I don't want to live through that again. You see, I'm recalling a past life from that exact time. I shed blood to shake off the chains of the tyrants and despots who owned us like cattle. But if I have to, I'll fight them again. Oh, you can't take me down and you can't shut me up. I got the First Amendment by right. And if the first one is threatened, I've still got the second. I won't go down without a fight. No, you can't take us down and you can't shut us up. We got the First Amendment by right. And if the first one is threatened, we've still got the second. We won't go down without